Now let's take a look at what your customers will see as they log in to place orders through FreshStore. I pulled up the Customer Master to point out a couple of things. Number one, I have only routed this customer for 2 days of the week for delivery. We'll look at this a little bit more as we get into order submission by the customer. Email. Email must be filled out on the Customer Master. It cannot be blank. Even if this is the email that will not be receiving the order confirmations, it still must be filled out. And lastly, if PO required is selected here within the Customer Master, then it will be required through FreshStore. Now let's pull up the portal. I will log in with my customer's credentials. And FreshStore can be viewed in English, French, or Spanish from a drop-down on the initial login screen. Now it's pulled up my grid view layout with standard items because that's what I set through the admin center. You could choose to show all items if you've enabled that for the customer, or by default the screen can come up showing all items. Also, we have the card layout or the picture layout, as some people call it. To put orders in here, you would just put in your quantity, add to cart, quantity, add to cart, and so on and so on. You can search for product here by just typing in the product search. And on the grid layout, you can do the same type of searching, but you can do that by column. So I can just type in steak and it'll pull up everything that has steak there. If your customers know your item codes, they can use what's called the quick add. And this will allow them to type in the item code. It will default to the unit of measure, default with a quantity of 1, and add. And I can now type in 114 and it will pull that up and add. And once I'm done with those items, I will just choose add to cart. Also from the grid view layout, I can click through basically as I would from an Excel spreadsheet and select the items I want, add to cart. I may choose to show all items and select a quantity there. Add to cart. We can sort these columns just by clicking on them and it will sort them alphabetically. And if the customer does have pricing defined, then it will show over here as we see. Once I'm satisfied and I've added everything to the cart, I will come over and look at the cart, see what's in here. I'll go ahead and put my PO number in because that's required. The customer can type a note. And then if the customer would like to select a delivery date, they will see Mondays and Thursdays for delivery dates. They cannot select anything else. Now it's important to note, going back to business rules and holidays, if this customer were placing this order on Sunday and my order cutoff time is 5 p.m., if the order was input before 5 p.m., they would be able to select Monday as a delivery date. If they enter the order after 5 p.m., they would not see Monday as a possible delivery date. They would only see Thursday and then future weeks, obviously. Once I'm done and I've selected the date, I'll choose done. If the customer is allowed to, they could select the order for pickup or delivery. This customer can only choose delivery. Once we've reviewed this, we can make any changes. We can even go back and continue shopping or delete the entire cart and start over. But I'm not. I'm just going to hit submit order. And now this is submitted into FreshBite. This will show you your list of previous orders now. It can also be retrieved by clicking on order history at the top. As I look here, this gives me the dates of the orders. I can click on the link icon and this will show me what was on the order, etc. I can't change anything because the order's already in. And then we see this small paper icon here next to the invoice numbers. This allows the customer to pull their own proof of delivery. This is contingent on you using FreshScan. So now the customer wouldn't have to call you and ask you to email the invoice from FreshBite. They could simply log on, and any document that has a piece of paper next to it will show. If it does not have that, it means there's no scanned document available. As I click on that, it will download the image, and I can now see my proof of delivery here. We can additionally see if the order is in process, if it's shipped, if it's billed, if it's paid, a number of options there. And this is an example of what an order confirmation would look like coming from FreshBite. Now let's go over to FreshBite itself and look at order entry. There are two ways to set up for orders to import. The first option is automatically approving those invoices, which means they'll appear immediately on the sales order screen to import. If you don't have that set up, you will have to go to the online orders screen, and we will have to choose to accept these orders. So I'll select these. Again, if you've chosen auto accept, which a lot of people do, you would actually skip this step. Or I could just choose accept here, and it will mark all as accepted. Now I'll close this, and I will go over to my sales order screen, and this will pull up. And again, as your order entry people are putting in orders, if you've noticed, there is the online orders button on the sales order screen, and that will be highlighted if there are orders. So I'll click on that. I can click on one of my orders. It will bring that in and bring the items into it. And now I will see my items that I put on the order through FreshStore, the quantity, and the cost. And then I hit save just like any regular order. And hit save.